Yes, good evening, members. Welcome to today's webinar session. Today, we are on GoToWebinar platform. We have changed our platform, so members are requested to be friendly with this platform. And whoever has logged in with the 2 or 3 devices, I request them to log in with the one device only. So today our great leader and past president of Islam, Mr. Ilango sir's first death anniversary, and in remembrance of him, because he had a lot of contribution towards our community and fraternity as well as Islam. We'll keep 1 minute mount. So I request to observe 1 minute silence to all the participants in the remembrance of our Mr. R.K. Ilango sir. We'll pray for his soul. Okay. Now we'll start with today's webinar. So today I will request Mr. Manchanda sir to start today's session. I think he's our senior faculty in this webinar team, so no need to give introduction of Mr. Manchanda ji. So I'll request Manchanda ji, you can start with today's session.
Good evening, friends. Today, first of all, I pay my obeisance to Mr. R.K. Ilango, who has left us a year ago, and I pray that his soul be rest in blessed feet of the Almighty. And I wish that his family, no doubt, his loss is irreparable, and I request that we all should pray to God for betterment of the family, betterment of the bereaved family who are in distress right now. Because today itself I have seen email regarding some books he had. Those are on sale, and as a gesture of our obeisance, we can purchase those books because that is going to be a financial kind of help to that family. And no doubt he will be remembered for all he has done, whatever he has done to save this profession. And right now, under what distress we people are going through, a leader like him shall be missed by us all. So now, today, I start with my deliberation on career's liability, and it is the 35th of the webinar of Gyan Ganga series of Isla platform. No doubt we have changed this platform to go with and it is naturally because of some of our friends had objected that the earlier one was not a good platform. But anyhow, we have tried to change it, and one thing more is this platform is capable of releasing the creditors in shape of certification, which shall be issued from time to time. For that matter, I would request all the people who have logged into to this seminar from different machines, more than one machine, they should withdraw unanimously. They should use only one machine to attend this. And now I start my demonstration. It is rendezvous with carrier's liability policy. Since we all are into it, and most of us are taking up all these kind of losses. And since it is not an ordinary policy, it is having implication of our so many laws like carriers is induced in it. And motor vehicle act is also there. Definitely policies we cannot uh, simply ignore because all the benefits or all the losses which are covered in this policy, they are only subject to when the loss is payable in the motor only policy. Only then this policy is initiated. This is, you can say it is an add-on kind of policy. So now I just give me a minute. Yeah. So we now go to the preamble of the policy, and this is one of the most important clause which defines the coverage and circumstances under which the coverage is initiated in this policy. Uh, as I have already said in the, just a moment before, that all the losses which are payable or which is the legal liability of the carrier are payable only when the loss to the insured vehicle becomes payable in the respective motor OD policy. Now, the miracle, rather the coverage of this policy is written in its preamble itself. So we have got to read the policy meticulously so that we must understand what we have covered, how we have covered, and what we have not covered. So we will be taking care because assessment is just a small thing. First of all, we have got to see what we are covering, what are the exclusions, and what are the conditions under which a loss has to occur. Only then it has to be made good or it has to be reported to the company as their liability. So let us have a look on this. So the preamble reads, whereas the insured name in the schedule here to carry on the business of a common carrier and none other for the purpose of this insurance has a proposal and a declaration applied to the company hereinafter the company for the insurance hereinafter set forth and has paid or agreed to pay the company the premium set out in the schedule as consideration for such insurance for the period stated in the schedule. So this is the first paragraph, which states that on receiving a proposal and the consideration that is the insurance premium it has been promised to be paid or whatever arrangement they have done. So the premium, once it is calculated and risk has been accepted, so period of insurance due is written and is agreed upon by both proposer as well as insurers. So after that, the policy says, now this policy witnessed that during the currency of the policy or any further period for which it may be enforced, subject to the limits, terms, provisions, exclusions, exceptions, and conditions contained herein or and those hereon. The company hereby agrees to indemnify the insured against his legal liability for actual physical loss or for damage to goods or merchandise directly caused by fire and/or accident to the vehicle registered under the number stated in the schedule, while such goods or merchandise are actually transported in the said vehicle, provided that fire or accident has arisen on account of negligence of the insured or negligence or criminal act of his servant, and further provided that the vehicle is damaged by such fire or explosion or accident and the claim in respect of thereof is admitted under the motor comprehensive policy covering the vehicle. The cover will commence with the loading of cargo on the vehicle and will be enforced until unloading of the cargo at the discharging point or expiry of 7 days after the first arrival of the vehicle at the destination town, whichever may occur first. So, first of all, as every policy, this policy is also uh, defining the currency of the policy or whenever there is any extension or maybe sometimes the this period of insurance is decreased. It may be a short term kind of policy. Whatever it is, it has to be enforced while a vehicle in which all the goods are consigned. And definitely, we have got to see one thing very clearly that this policy is not only to be serviced to uh, the petroleum carrier lorries, but also it can be given to the big clients like what you call carriers who are into the transportation of the goods to the big transporters which are having a good fleet. And this policy can be serviced to them. First of all, we have to see, as I have already stated, that whenever there is any kind of law, that has to be maintainable under the comprehensive insurance policy, which is covering the vehicle. Only then the supplementary policy will come into force, which will cover the product or merchandise which has been conveyed. And we cannot construe that it is a marine policy. No, marine policy is taken by the consignees or the owner of the goods of the merchandise. But definitely here, this policy is taken by the carrier so that in event of any misfortune or any eventuality, this policy is coming into force under Carriers Act 1867 because a carrier is supposed to deliver all the goods in safe and sound condition at the destination or at the point of discharge or whatever you call it or discharging site. And we have to see there are certain losses which are attributed to mishandling during transit. And this is the policy which is covering it. And definitely, you would have seen that you people are gathering the letter of subrogation in case of marine losses. That letter of subrogation is simply what? That is right of recovery, which is surrendered by the consignor to the insurance company to recover that amount from the erring transporter. Fine. And when that situation comes, if a transporter is having this policy, carrier's liability policy, only then that recovery can be sought for which a carrier is legally liable to pay back. Can be sought from him by the insurance company, number one. And most of the times, why this policy is taken by most of the petroleum dealers because of their contract with IOC, and it is a mandatory condition for them to have this policy. Why? Because they have to safeguard the consignment which they convey through the transporter. They float their transportation bid, which successful bidder has to obey certain norms and certain terms and conditions. And one of the main condition is that whenever there is any loss, that has to be paid or has to be deducted from the remunerations or the money which transporter is likely to get in return of services he is rendering. Okay, so now I come down to a very important point in this paragraph number 2. That is, or merchandise directly caused by fire and or accident. So it means whether any loss is occurring because of fire or any accident to the vehicle registered under the number stated in the schedule, while such goods or merchandise are actually transported in the said vehicle, provided that fire or accident has arisen on account of negligence of the insured or negligence of or the criminal act of his servant, and further provided that the vehicle is damaged by such fire or explosion or accident. Okay. Now here, what you are covering is the negligence of either insured or his crew, whosoever are handling the transportation, or maybe driver who's driving, or maybe conductor or khulasi who is just help to driver on long trips and all. If they are contributory to the accident, if their negligence is contributory to the accident, only then,
Excuse me, Kevin sir.
yeah, yeah,
Some voice is not clear. Some voice issues there. So can you please hold the mic with your
okay,
mouse?
okay, okay.
And some typewriter type voice is there. Is there any fan is on?
Yeah, fan is on. Let me do it.
Please,
Just
please, sir, please.
just excuse me.
Thank you very
Yeah,
much, sir.
you're welcome. So this is what I have got to convey you all people here, my friends, that we have got to see that negligence or criminal act or any such act which is performed willfully or what you say deliberately. If that happens, only then our this policy is initiated and a legal liability, if thus is there or is arisen, this policy covers that legal liability. And second thing you have got to see is the cover will commence with the loading of cargo in the vehicle and will be enforced until unloading of the cargo at the discharging point or expire of 7 days after the first arrival of the vehicle at destination town. Means because of burns and any other civil commotion kind of thing or strikes or whatever, or maybe because of so many reasons, because of flood, if the vehicle reaches within the limits of the city, what for it is destined to deliver the cargo or the merchandise, if it reaches and because of unforeseen things, only the loss which is occurring in those 7 days, maybe due to flood, maybe due to earthquake or whatever. So that loss is payable only until the seventh day from the date of reaching at the uh, port of discharge or discharging point, whatever you call it, where it has to conclude or culminate its uh, voyage. Fine. Uh, just, just, just hold on, please. I got a call. Uh, Now, here I have got to say that first and foremost thing what we have got to see is a what you say, willful misconduct on part of. insured or his crew has to be observed. Even say if a robbery occurs and he's stopped and driver is stopped and the vehicle is robbed off, definitely that becomes a very uh, dicey kind of situation. You have got to see whether he was involved in that robbery or dacoity or theft or whatever. If he's involved in that, then the loss is covered. Otherwise, you have got to have a very clear cut write up from the insurance company about that. Number now, here comes the third paragraph of the preamble, that is, provided that the liability of the insurer of the company shall not exceed the sum of rupees stated in the schedule item 6A in respect of any accident or series of accident arising out of anyone, event or occurrence, nor the sum of rupees stated in the schedule at item 6B in respect of all claims arising during any one period of insurance, but the company will, in addition, pay all the costs and expenses incurred with its written consent in defending any claim made against the insured. So, friends, here you have got to see there are two types of limits of liability which are defined in the policy. That is, any one accident or a series of accidents during currency of the policy. So this is defined, whatever is defined, it has to be taken care of. And only deductible in this is normal loss, that is normal trade losses like evaporation that you have got to deduct sometime. If it is in enclosed chamber where you feel that there is no evaporation can take place, you can simply avoid that deduction. But only deductible then left is the excess class, which is normally 2,000 rupees. Now we go to next. So here comes this. That was the coverage. Means anything which is mentioned there, whatever, however, the loss is occurring to the merchandise which has been conveyed, it is covered subject to the exclusions and conditions we are likely to discuss right now. But one thing is that we have got to be very careful while we have to see that our driver or conductor or the owner of the lorry, they must be held responsible for occurrence. The negligence is the loss must be resultant out of the what you say negligence of these people. Only then a liability will arise under Carriers Act 1865. So, second thing, any goods, merchandise, cargo, or petroleum product which is belonging to the insured as subcontractor or his employees or his relations, those are not payable. So let us see what the exclusions are. Provided always that the company shall not in any circumstances be liable under this policy in respect of number one, liability under any contract or agreement, unless such liability would have arisen and the insured would have been liable to law, notwithstanding such an agreement under Careers Act 1865. Fine. So liability under any contract or arrangement or agreement, like with IOC or BPCL or whatever, as if a contractor is there to transport the goods in his tanker, and there is a certain set of terms and conditions in that tender, and those have to be abide by, and those are in line with the Careers Act, and definitely all these conditions are in expressed condition, they are in written condition, and this policy is to obey all those conditions uh, for paying back the liability which has arisen out of the accident. So now Number second, liability in respect of damage to property belonging to the insured or to any servant, agent, subcontractor of the insured or to third parties, unless such property is covered by a contract of carriage entered into by insured in an approved form. That is what I'm saying. What is approved form? That is means all the terms and conditions should be in written form. They should be expressed so that both the parties to the agreement, to the contract, they cannot sway away from it. There must be something concrete to know that in such case, if something wrong is happening to the merchandise which is conveyed, if it is not delivered at point of discharge or is delivered in damaged condition, what are the penalties or what are the uh, conditions under which the money has to be paid back to the owner of the goods or owner of the respective goods. So all those things have to be in black and white, and they should be incorporated over a stamp paper, duly approved and duly sworn in by a magistrate or even maybe sometimes like this company like IOC and the BPCL, uh, if they are doing something like that, they they are having their own set of papers and they are being filled up, they are deposited, and that becomes a legal contract between both of the people. Now here comes uh, point B of exclusion 2. In control of the insurer or any servant, agent, or subcontractor of the insurer unless such property is covered by a contract of carriage entered into by the insured in an approved form. So it is just, excuse me, please. अमित, आप एक मिनट अंदर आ जाओ यार, मेरा ना लेक्चर चल रहा था, प्लीज कम इन, आप आ जाओ एक मिनट. So, in the control of the insured or any servant, the liability in respect of damage to property in the control of insurer or of any servant or agent or subcontractor of the insurer, unless such property is covered by a contract of carriage entered into by the insured in an approved form. So, this is what I have made you all clear. Now, let us go to the exclusion 3, that is liability for losses or damage arising from inherent defect of vice, including insects, mold, vermin, mildew, mold, damp, wear and tear, deterioration, spontaneous combustion, or decay of perishable goods. As this is the most frequent condition which is appearing in almost all of the policies, and definitely we must be knowing, but however, I simply would say that if a loss is happening because of its own very nature, means say if any hides or any hides, I'll give you a tinkle. So inherent defect or vice, including insect moth, means if any loss which is occurring because of its own very nature, uh, like anything which is absorbent of moisture from the uh, moist weather, is chemically reacting with packaging or any spillage, or means anything which is coming out of its own self while you are stacking it, and definitely while you are stacking it, and it is uh, trying to change its own chemical composition. That that is inherent defect or inherent vice, and it can be because of the insects or both, or worm in with rodents or mildew or dampness or wear and tear, maybe because if some machine is there and it is exposed to the weather conditions, or there is formation of trust and all, and or deterioration or spontaneous conversion again, which is happening because of its own inherent vice. Heat is being developed, and it is get to the extent that it is catching fire, or maybe because of decaying of the perishable goods. Like if you see, you would have seen that sometimes we from J&K we send apple to whole of the India, rather to whole of the, but it has got a shelf life, or mangoes are coming to our state, so like that. I mean, these are the perishable goods which have got very less shelf life, and if they are damaged because of any delay or any reason, if they are damaged, these losses are not payable. Then we come to 3B. This is depreciation, delay, loss of market, any confiscation by a public authority. Means if loss is happening because of delay, it was again a condition in the marine insurance. Loss of market means when you have ordered a thing at say rupee 100, and when it reaches you on market value, rates are dropped, and sometimes consignees they refuse to take the uh, delivery of the goods. So all those loss of market or delay because of happening losses happening because of delay, they are not or sometimes it is confiscation by the public authority. Like I would cite an example that because of lockdown in recent past, rather these days too, there are only certain set of lorries which are allowed to run or ply on the roads, and because of the order of the government. And definitely, whenever any confiscation because he was unauthorizedly was going to, or maybe because he was carrying any contraband and illegal kind of thing, which is treated as smuggling. Like I would say that in our state, if somebody is trying to take a certain portion, a certain quantity of saffron or basmati uh, rice, so these are having a limitations, like only 10 grams of saffron you can carry, and if you have to carry more than that, that is a cognizable offense, and your vehicle as a whole can be confiscated by the public authority. It may be police, or maybe any ED, or uh, any authority by law which has been constituted to take care of such things. So if that confiscation is resulting into delay or loss of market, that loss is also not payable. Then here
मोटोर
comes the
यूज करते हैं क्या लैपटॉप? कौन सा? ये वाला कोई यूज करता था?
hello. Yeah, now we come to 3C. It is consequential loss arising from loss or damage to goods. So this consequential loss, we don't have to confuse ourselves with the consequential loss, which is happening with the lorry itself. No, it is consequential loss is by the damage. Like say, if any if any merchandise is damaged, it is in liquid form, and it hello, yeah, any who is there?
Yes, sir.
Hello. I'm getting disturbing voices, I guess. Anyway, uh, so consequential losses occurring because of damage to goods. Those are taint damages, those are payable, but consequential losses by which is further increasing after happening of the loss. In one go, once damage has occurred, and it is okay. But consequential losses means like repacking, and because of the dense one is trying to carry on its journey, onward journey, and by the time it reaches, like if it is fresh fruit, it has developed some marks, black marks of broken tissues in it, and definitely when that happens. By the time it completes its journey, those are becoming black and rendered unserviceable for the normal human food chain. Those losses are not payable. So then 3D is any consequence, whether direct or indirect, of war, mean any war, whether declared or not, act of foreign enemy, hostilities of civil war, rebellion, mutiny, insurrection, or assert power. Then civil commotion, act of court, any change of law, refusal on part of government agency. This policy, what I am discussing, is a basic policy. So it has got certain add-ons also. You have to pay extra premium, and you can cover, say, landslides and all, flood, STFI, this, that. So this is the basic policy we are discussing here, and these are the exclusions which normally a basic policy does not cover. Then does act of court, any change of law, refusal on part of government agency, or any competent authority to grant any necessary permit, license, or sanction, or deciding to revoke or qualify any such permit in event of any claim. Hereunder, the insured shall prove that the liability arose independently of and was in no way connected with or occasioned by or contributed to by or traceable to any of the said occurrences or causes in consequence thereof, and in default of such proof, the company shall not be liable to make any payment in respect of such a claim. Now, here these are all the exclusions, like if loss is occurring is attributed to war, whether declared or not, act of foreign enemy, hostilities, civil war, rebellion, mutiny, insurrection, absurd power, civil commotion, act of God, any change of law, refusal. So these were the things which are very clear to everybody. Now I come to the point which I wanted to discuss, wanted to tell it to you, that what I have understood out of this. This is any change of law, refusal on part of the government agency, or other competent authority to grant any necessary permit, license, or sanction. Now, in J&K, the longest tunnel right now, road tunnel, is around 10 kilometers long, and all the gas tankers and petroleum tankers or petroleum products carrying tankers of lorries, they have been banned from entering into this tunnel. They have to adopt the other way around, which was the conventional route to Kashmir. So if any tanker is going in that, and if that vehicle is confiscated, or it met with an accident, because it is the government's decision to not to allow these lorries through that tunnel. So if anybody is trying to uh, go through that tunnel, if especially these lorries carrying petroleum products or gas tankers, so if they are doing so and any loss occurs, that loss is not going to be payable at all, because that route is closed for the certain class of vehicles, like I have told you. So that loss is not going to be payable at all, irrespective of whether he has permit to go through anywhere to anywhere in India, but that portion is not allowing all these vehicles to traverse their journey through that tunnel. Now here comes 3E. Any consequence, whether direct or indirect of strikes or rights. As I have already said that certainly I'm discussing here the basic policy first, and rights and strikes, they are not included in the inbuilt cover. So that is covering only the accident or fire. Fine. And loss or destruction of or damage to any property whatsoever, or any loss or expense whatsoever, resulting or arising therefrom, or any consequential loss directly or indirectly caused by or contributed to by or arising from ionizing radiation or contamination by radioactivity from any nuclear fuel or from any nuclear waste, from combustion of nuclear fuel or from nuclear weapon materials. So any radioactive product which is damaging the cargo by contaminating it with its ions or with its atoms. So that is again an exclusive. So here comes another exclusive goods and or merchandise which may be illicit or illegal or contraband or smuggled. Like right now, I'll say the drug which is for corona, which is being used, is now banned. You cannot have that until unless you have got a prescription. But we have seen that there are certain ways to smuggle in all such banned drugs from one place to another. And even then, even you know, in our state, we have to obtain. Uh, excuse me. We have to obtain Form 25. You know what that Form 25 is? That is authorizing one transporter to carry the wood from one point to another point, and that is given by the government authorities. And if that Form 25 is not with the truck owner, his vehicle will be treated as smuggling wood from one place to another, and it will be seized, or you may say it will be confiscated by the police authorities. So all the bids to do anything which is wrong and which is not allowed as per the law is not payable. Here comes the section 4. Uh, no claim arising from a peril insured against shall be payable under this insurance unless the aggregate of all such claim arising out of each separate accident or occurrence exceeds the amount stated in the schedule at time 7, in which case the sum insured will be deducted rupees the the excess clause deducted rupees 2,000 amount payable. But no claim arising from a parent insured against shall be payable under this policy unless the aggregate of all such claims arising out of each separate accident or occurrence exceed the amount stated in the schedule, in which case the sum shall be deducted from the amount payable. Okay, so this is what we have got to see is how many claims one has taken, and since it is issued on two bases, any one accident or number of accidents throughout the currency, throughout the year, how much is the sum insured available. And, so we have got to be very prudent while arriving at. But again, condition will remain that we have got to see one thing that insured or his employees or his relation in charge of the goods should be held responsible. Their negligence must be a contributory factor to which has caused the accident. Then the loss is payable. Now, provided further that due observance and fulfillment of terms, provisions, conditions, endorsement of this policy by the insured and or his agents or servant so far as they relate to anything to be done or complied with by the insured shall be conditions precedent to any liability of the company to make any payment under this policy. No waiver of any term, provision, condition, endorsement of this policy or renewal thereof shall be valid unless made in writing, signed by an authorized officials of the company. So this is a very important exclusion uh, he has to observe and fulfill all the terms and conditions of the policy. And as per the endorsements of the policy, which are taken or which are sought by the insured from time to time, or by his legal agents or servants, insofar as they relate to anything to be done or complied with by the insured shall be condition precedent to any liability. Means these conditions are set aside; they cannot escape. They cannot make any excuse that these things they forgot, as we commonly listen. याद नहीं रहा सर, भूल गए सर. So there is no waiver of any terms, provisions, conditions, and endorsements of the policy, or even renewal. So anything which is written in the policy, or for what uh, explicitly, which is in writing, that has to be taken care of. We have to take the cognizance of that. And that write-up should be authorized by the officials of the insurance company. Now here we come to condition. No payment in respect of any premium shall be deemed to be payment to the company unless a printed form of receipt signed by official duly authorized printed of the company shall have been issued. Therefore, the company shall not be bound to accept any renewal premium to give notice to such renewal is due. So this is a case, a condition which is towards insurance company. We need not to worry much more. Every notice or communication to the company shall be in writing. So here, any losses, if it is occurring, or if any new policy has to be taken, or if any sum insured or period of insurance has to be enhanced, it has got to be taken care of by the company, and only when the communication is in writing, and from which this policy was issued to that office only. You cannot go to anywhere and get it renewed or get it enhanced, or some insured enhancement, or maybe enhancement of the duration of the policy or the currency of the policy. You can do it from the other offices. You have got to go to the concerned office which has underwritten the policy, issued that policy. Sorry. Also, you should notice or knowledge of anything relating to this policy or any claim here under reference to any of the property or premises insured herein that shall not be deemed to be noticed to or within the knowledge of the company unless so given. So you have got to give the every communication in writing to the insurance company, so that whatever uh, you want to get it done, it has to be on record, and then no alteration in the terms of this policy nor any endorsement herein will be valid unless the same is signed or initialed by an authorized representative of the company. So again, it is something, whenever you get a paper, you have got to see that it is signed by the insurance company's official, especially this policy or any endorsement or whatever. Now here come the third one, condition. Upon the happening of any event or occurrence likely to give rise to any नहीं, मैं बात upon the happening of any event or occurrence likely to give rise to a claim under this policy, and immediately after the same shall have come to the knowledge of the insured or his agent, the insured shall, number one, take all practicable steps to cause the discovery of any guilty person. So it is first and foremost duty of him to identify and recover that person who is behind the accident. Take steps for the safety of the goods. He has got to take all the possible steps, all the possible measures to mitigate the loss. Give to the company notice in writing within 10 days from the date of occurrence. He has to give it the notice to the company within 10 days from the occurrence of accident. Intimation has got to be delivered to the company within 10 days from the date of the occurrence, and shall deliver to the company a claim in writing within 20 days from the date of occurrence of the accident, which normally doesn't happen because it takes pretty good time because in especially petroleum products and all, uh, they take a pretty good amount of time, minimum amount, maybe more they are taking to deduct the money, and they simply deduct it from the claim bill, rather what you say about claim bill. I am saying whatever the remuneration for the complete 1 month or maybe two, he has made trips to deliver the goods, all his transportation bills, which he was liable to get. Uh, they deduct it from that, and supply all such detailed particulars and proof as may reasonably be required. Means he has got to give any, if any police report is there, then any person who is witness to the accident or other things like challan, load challan, invoice or whatever, he has got to submit all those documents to the insurance company so that his claim may be processed. In no case shall the company be liable for any loss or damage not notified to the company within 50 days of the happening of the event. Even sometimes, yes, uh, any loss which has occurred on day one, and say if it was a mixed merchandise in a truck by some transporter who has booked a complete truck with so many invoices of different people, and if anything happens to that truck, and if he has issued 20 GRs or 20 invoices towards 20 invoices, and if he is claiming 19 and one he is left accounting for it or telling it to the insurance company. Definitely one thing is, sorry, one thing is that that 20th one, what he has not disclosed to the company, it won't be uh, considered by surveyors or by even the company. It will be a breach of the condition, and that portion of the loss will be excluded from the policy or from the claim, and that doesn't form the part of the claim, or we don't have to assess that loss. Now it comes to the give the company notice in writing with full particulars of any claim or any subsequent proceeding as soon as possible after the same shall have to come to the notice of the insured and or his agent. You see, this is a very tricky condition here. On one hand, policy is covering the legal liability. Here is the condition which is covering the legality. Means the legal notice has to be served, and if that is served to the transporter by any of the consignors or consignees regarding the damage of the goods or non-delivery of the goods, that notice immediately he has to forward it to his insurance company so that they may take cognizance of it, and likely if they have got to defend the case or they have to appoint any surveyor or any arbitrator or any lawyer or any measure they want to do or any procedural thing they want to adopt as per their claims manual, they have got to depute the right person to handle such. Now, here lastly, at his own expense, furnish all the information, explanation, vouchers, proof of ownership and of loss, and such other evidence to substantiate the claim as may be reasonably required by the company. This is what I earlier said also. Uh, for procuring, say, police report, if police report, they charge something, insurance company is not liable to pay him. He has to procure all the documentations, no matter he has to go maybe 200 kilometers to procure all those documents. He has to do it on its own, and that expenses, they won't form part of the claim. So all the vouchers, proof of ownership and loss and other evidences like police report, meteorological report, whatever they are, whatever company may ask, he has got to provide, and he has to spend or he has to visit on his own to procure all those documents. Now here comes the detail of all the contracts of carriage issued and freight earned, and of all the vehicles employed or utilized to discharge such contracts shall be properly recorded, and the insured shall at all times allow the company to inspect such accounts and records. So here it is advisable that every lorry must maintain a logbook, and all the GRs per trip he has got to maintain, and all that records must be maintained in duplicate by the contractor at its head office or other branches wherever insurance company wants to inspect it. It is necessary for two reasons. Number one, first of all, they have got to see that whether they are charging adequate premium or not, because sometimes the one carrying limit of a vehicle may be 50 lakhs and he would have got it insured for 5 lakhs. So that is the loss of premium. And secondly, they have got to see whether insured who is a transporter, whether he is carrying his own goods also. For that matter, he has got to purchase another policy, that is marine insurance policies, ITC classes, road risk, or whatever kind of thing. So all these things, company may have a surprise check just to see whether the state exchequer is not duped of the money because of under declaring all the things. And here comes the condition 5. The insured shall exercise reasonable care, and only steady, sober, and competent employees and agents are employed, that all building storage spaces, machinery, vehicles, their accessories, fittings are substantial and sound, in proper order, and fit for the purpose for which they are used, that all statutory requirements and all the bylaws and regulations imposed by the public authority are duly observed and complied with, and that the loads carried are protected from loss or damage. Like he has got to maintain his vehicle to the extent that he must obtain a fitness certificate, that is a certificate of roadworthiness, that the applying this vehicle on the road is not detrimental to the pedestrians or the society by way of means having excessive lead levels in its exhaust notes and all. We have got to see all the things, whatever the laws which are pertaining to this, like in motor vehicle, number one, pollution laws are applicable, and motor vehicle laws are rules are applicable. Then Carriers Act is applicable, Insurance Act is applicable. So we have got to see that all the things are maintained, and every law is being taken care of by the fleet owner. And goods are properly protected in the lorry by way of providing tarpaulin, wood, canopy, and like that, so that uh, the merchandise is not damaged during the voyage or journey en route because of the rains or other conditions prevalent in the weather. So, if any defect shall be discovered, shall not only cause the said defect to be the made good at the dispatch, but also in the meantime cause such additional precautions to taken as circumstances of the case may
Excuse me,
require.
sir.
Yeah.
Have a sip of water and please hold your mic to your mouth so people can heard your voice. Your Please have
Okay.
a little break and take some water.
No. It is not like that. In fact, I went in flow, you know. So,
Okay,
yeah,
okay, okay.
I simply gained my perfect flow.
And the members telling that they need some clear voice, so I have disturbed you. Sorry, sir.
Okay. So, sir,
Please continue.
tell members FDI has been approved and foreign players are also coming, so they must try understanding quick. So anyway, uh, uh, any defect shall be discovered, insured shall not only cause the said defect to be made good with all dispatch, but shall also in the meantime cause such additional precautions to be taken as the circumstances of the case may require. So whatever the things he has got to do means he if he has got to provide any tarpaulin over the things or uh, he has to cut short his journey because a certain area which was the shortest possible route to the uh, port of discharge, if that was flooded and he has to take another route, he has got to tell his employees to do all the practicable possible things to mitigate the loss or take the precautions to save the goods from being damaged by any such kind of thing. So the company shall at all reasonable time have free access to inspect any property. Means the company can go and check, they can send surveyor to go and check whether the fleet is roadworthy or not, whatever, or they are maintaining all proper books, log books, or they are issuing the GRs perfectly or not, or anything which is likely to say like GST, means they may not be declaring all the transactions or so many things. Company can go and have a look on their records and so that is the condition. Definitely, it has to be taken care of because as per Carrier Act and it has to be a vehicle has to be maintained in perfect ways to ensure that it is not endangering the life of the people. So uh, this is the important thing which you have got to see. Now, condition 6 is no admission, offer, promise, payment, or indemnity shall be made or given by or on behalf of the insured without the prior written consent of the company. So, in case of any loss, say if a tanker or any lorry hits another vehicle and they want to go in for some out of court kind of settlement, and if they have to if they are doing it on their own self, the insurance company is not liable. If they want that company should be liable, they have got to inform the insurance company, and definitely their consent has to be obtained. Only then they have got to initiate any such sort of a settlement with the uh, damaged vehicle by which has been uh, damaged by the lorry which has been insured. Fine. So Uh, here comes the payment of the claims will only be made on production's proper discharge signed by the owners of the cargo, except in cases referred to condition number 9 below. So, in event of any loss arising under this policy, the amount of such loss will be automatically reinstated as from the moment of occurrence, giving rise to such loss in consideration of the insured paying an additional premium for the amount so restored. So this is reinstatement of the sum insured, which is automatic, and while they are making good the payment, they deduct a portion of it towards it, and that is again a thing which insurance company has got to see. But as a surveyor, you have got to see whether insurance company has made any such reinstatement. If they have not done, the portion of the loss which has been given in the earlier claim, that has to be deducted. Means if a one single carrying event is say 5 lakh rupees and they have made a loss of made good a loss of say 1.5 lakhs, so they have not got it reinstated, then the sum insured per wage available shall be only 3.5 lakhs. So this is important thing we have got to see while we are preparing our reports. Now here comes condition 8. If a payment exceeding the limit of liability under this policy has to be made to dispose of a claim, the liability of the company to pay any cost, charges, expenses in connection with therewith shall be limited to such properties of the said cost, charges, expenses as limit of the liability under this policy bears to the amount paid to the disposal of the claim. So this is what our liability is constricted to the sum insured by all means, all the expenses like litigation cost or arbitration cost or whatever these are, they have got to be taken care only up to extent that is a per limit liability. Now here is the condition 9, which earlier we have made mention. That is here payment of the claims will only be made in the direction of a proper discharge signed by the owners of the cargo, except in the case separate to the condition 9. Now, let us go through the condition 9. At any time after the happening of any event giving rise to a claim or series of claim under the policy, the company may pay to the insured the full amount of the company's liability under such clauses, relinquish the conduct of any defense, settlement, or proceedings, and the company shall not be responsible for any damage like to have been caused to the insured in consequence of any allied action or omission of the company in connection with such defense, settlement, or proceeding of the company relinquish such conduct, nor shall the company be liable for any cost or expense whatsoever incurred by the insured or any claimant or other person after company shall have relinquished such conduct. So means once the claim is payable, that is payable to this limit of the liability. That is, it it covers all the expenses. You cannot go beyond that. Then once the company has made good the payment, has relinquished itself by making the payment, then we must understand no second thought or no other claim is going to be taken care. So this is important while we are assessing the losses, especially in case of total loss vehicles, total loss lorries, where whole of the product or whole of the merchandise which has been conveyed is damaged. Now here condition 10, if at the time of any claim arises under this policy, there is any other existing insurance covered in the same liability, the company shall not be liable to pay or contribute more than its suitable proportion for any compensation cost. No doubt, in my opinion, this condition 10, uh, is absolutely contrary to the policy itself because we are covering legal liability. When it is a liability, it is a legal liability and is uh, agreed value policy. So, in my opinion, if he has got two more policies, so a rateable contribution doesn't apply here. But why it is happening so? Because the principle of insurance is that he must not make a benefit out of a misfortune. So for that matter, this condition is there, but it can be revoked only because that is legal liability, and here you cannot say you cannot take you can take n number of policies, but in this policy, this thing cannot be set right. But definitely, when it is a written condition, we have to abide by it. So we have got no choice. So contribution clause to occur here. We have got to make say two policies are there, we have got to make two reports and proportionate loss assessment has to be taken care, and we have got to deduct two excess clauses here and submit our reports to the respective insurance companies. Now, condition 11, if a claim be made or by or on behalf of the insured, which shall be in any respect unsound or fraudulent or intentionally exaggerated, or if any false declaration or statement be made in support thereof, no claim shall be recoverable here under. So It is again a very important condition in almost all of the policies which I have seen that uh, if a person who is entering into a contract, if he is of unsound mind, the loss is not payable. Even that condition is there in our license renewal affidavit, which we furnish to IRDA. So we have to be of sound mind to hold a license. Then any fraudulent or intentionally exaggeration is there. I mean, if a loss has occurred to the tune of 0.1 and he's exaggerating it to 1.5 lakhs by stealing it and then showing to the consignor that this is the leftover and they deduct 1.5 lakh rupees out of it. And definitely that thing is not acceptable and appreciable here, and definitely any loss occurring because of all these reasons, because of false declaration or statement made in sport to get the claim, those are not at all uh, accepted, and loss is not recoverable, loss is not payable, and loss is not tenable under the policy of insurance. Now here comes the condition 12. The company shall not be bound to accept any renewal premium nor should give notice that such is due, and the company may at any time cancel this policy by sending 15 days notice. It is there pertaining to the insurance companies. We have got nothing to do with it. So let us go to the next. So here is the condition 13. The policy shall stand cancelled with immediate effect because of the laws related to carriage of goods are altered in any way. Any change occur in the ownership or management of the insured of the area of operation. Means if any law is changed, then policy stands cancelled from the date of that law is changed or changes have effective. Again, any change occur in the ownership if a person has sold out his vehicle and the new owner is not there. And again, there is no insurable interest in the policy. It has got to be uh, rendered a no claim in the we cannot admit the liability of the insurer in such case. Then here comes the area of operation. If geographical area of operation in the permit is changed, and say previously if he's going from Bombay to Delhi, now he's going to Delhi to J&K, and that is not endorsed in his route permit, then again claim is not payable. Uh, uh, any material change occurred in the information provided in the proposal form. So any changes which are already declared in a proposal form, if any change, like if he is changing his old vehicle with the new one and it is not intimated to the company, but he's using same, he has got it endorsed in the audio and still he has not got an endorsement affected towards it from the insurance company, again the loss is not paid unless such change or alteration is brought to the notice of the company. This is what I said. The insurance company has got to issue an endorsement on any a premium if they require. They have got to receive it. Then only we can consider it. In event of such cancellation after a claim has arisen during the current policy period, no refund of premium shall be made. Again, insurance company. So once a claim is lodged to the insurance company, and if he wants to get the things cancelled, get the policy cancelled, there is no refund of premium. So now we come to the condition 14. In event of the policy being cancelled at any time by the insured, provided no claim has arisen during the current insured shall be entitled to a return of premium. Again, it is pertaining to the insurance companies. We have got nothing to do with it. Company may cancel the policy by sending 7 days notice by registered letter to the insured at his own address, and in such event will return to the insured the premium paid less than 1/4 of basis. Again, then here comes the condition 16. The liability covered in the policy, being limited, is understood and agreed that in any event, company's liability shall not extend to any liability of the insured or his servants except as specifically stated herein, even if the insured or his servants are liable under Carriers Act or other law. The liability covered under the policy being limited is understood and agreed that in any event the company's liability shall not extend to any liability of the insured or his servants except as specifically stated herein, even if the insured or servants are liable under the Carriers Act or I mean, this is what I'm telling you. Under this condition, you have got to see that if loss is occurring because of the negligence of the insured or his servants, only the loss is payable. This condition is again written here and it is confirming the preamble of the policy. So here comes 17 number policy which covers the arbitration clause and definitely we being surveyors, we must be efficient enough to settle a claim, not to linger it on or to let our uh, client or insurance company suffer because of non-payability or because of some reasons which are avoidable. So if a loss which is uh, sometimes doubtful, so benefit of doubt must go to the client, to the aggrieved, that is the client. Why I'm saying so? Because at end of the litigation or arbitration, after spending so much long time, say 5 years or 6 years of arbitration or conciliation kind of, or maybe even litigation, if we are to give that money to the insured, isn't it better that we should act prudently and make a right decision to make the payment? So anyway, this is a condition whenever a dispute is there to the quantum of loss, then an arbitrator can be appointed. And so now condition 19, the insured shall maintain a written record at each of its depot of delivery station. This is what I earlier said. So that he has got to maintain logbook and has to maintain record in duplicate at his head office and other offices also, so that all the transactions are tallied and counter cross-checked. Uh, the insured shall maintain a written record at each of its depot of the delivery station, in which shall be entered promptly the condition and nature of goods received in an apparently damaged condition immediately at the time of receipt. Means they have got to make it a in-house kind of thing, that whenever such thing happens, they have got to record it somewhere, that it must be evident, and for statistical purpose, even at later stages, company can refer to all these things and see what is the premium income and what is the claim outgo to underwrite the premium in a prudent way. Number 20, it is the duty of the assured and the agent in all cases to take such measures as may be reasonable for the purpose of averting or minimizing a loss, or to ensure that all the rights against bailey or other parties are properly preserved and exercised. So, uh, our client, who is a transporter by virtue of his business, it is a condition that he has got to take every possible step for the loss mitigation, and he has to maintain all the things in such a way to avoid the upcoming or extension making, and he has to ensure that all the rights against baileys or other parties are properly preserved and exercised, because uh, this is the law of tort. Some other time I will be discussing that these are the things, because a person who is owner of the goods and he is running his goods to be carried from one place to other place, and that is governed by the mercantile law or law of torts and everything. They have got to maintain all the hundis and everything, and all the things And those procurements, those are the declarations which they have to take from the uh, consignors or consignees that the merchandise is not contraband or illegal or that kind of thing. Everything they have to preserve and on request of insurance company or on the request of the any government agency, they have got to produce all. Definitely, most of the times it is not fulfilled, but definitely it is advised that we should educate our clients to maintain this sort of thing, because this is very important, because if someday somebody is sending some contraband, then it is his vehicle which will be confiscated. So now we come to condition 21. It is the condition of this insurance that the assured shall act with reasonable dispatch in all the circumstances within their control. So this clause uh, indirectly states that controlled dispatch, that means they have to maintain that what is the registered laden weight of the carrying capacity of the vehicle, that has to be maintained, that has to be taken care of, because if they are overloading the truck, even then this is breach of the condition, the claim becomes voidable to certain extent, say 10%, maybe company says deduct 25% or whatever. So that becomes voidable. That depends on the company whether to pay it or not. Now here comes condition 22nd. It is an express condition of the policy that the subject to condition number 16 above, the civil court stated in the schedule will have exclusive jurisdiction to try any claim under this. This is a condition, means where from the policy has been issued, all the losses shall be dealt in the court. This condition is related with that, and definitely we don't have much to do with this. Now here's the note at the foot. In the event of the dishonor of the premium check, the policy automatically stands cancelled ab initio from the inception. That cancels. Now, right and strike endorsement is there. So by paying in consideration of the payment of the sum as specified in the schedule as additional premium, it is hereby understood and acted that exclusion number 3A of the policy shall not apply to this. So this is the right and strike endorsement. So it is all the things it is excluding, again, is war and invasion and mutiny, civil commotion. Uh, these losses again are only right and strike are covered in it. Then, notwithstanding, anyway, thank you, friends and entirety through time, especially Mr. Muruge for his endeavor in education arena on behalf of Islam. And I request you all, buddies, to send your feedback at the email mentioned here, or feedback at isla.net. Now, I request Mr. Sachinji to take over the things from my end.
Thank you,
Hello.
Manchanda.
Yeah.
We have some questions. Shall we take it?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, there is a question from Mr. Vijay Agarwala. Who and how negligence will be established? Which agency will certify it?
You see, since as per the name of the policy, it is legal liability policy. So any legal firm, any legal entity, most of the times it is police authorities which establish, because they always state that section 279 has operated, it was rash and negligent driving on part of the driver has occurred. So it is only police authorities who have to certify that under what section of Indian Penal Code a crime has occurred. So we have to rely upon the police reports. The next question, sir. Hello.
Yes, sir. It's a question from Mr. Santosh Kumar Das. Give some
Yeah.
example of consequential loss.
Sir, it is again a very big subject, and right now we have already crossed. Today, for the first time, I have consumed half an hour extra of my audience. Next, I will be doing one seminar, this webinar on consequential losses. That is a big subject, and definitely mm, it is not to be answered in this small amount of time, because I require minimum 6 hours to tell you what are the consequential losses. Consequential losses are the losses which have occurred after the train of event has ceased to happen. And once an accident has occurred, and thereafter certain things which start developing, like perishing uh, vegetables or whatever, those are all the consequential losses. So for an example, I'm telling. Otherwise, there are thousands of other things we require one more seminar to deal with it.
Okay.
Next slide.
There is an interesting question from Mr. Sanjay Vasre.
Yeah,
If the owner of the vehicle has a carrier legal liability policy and the
yeah.
consignee had taken a marine cargo policy, then loss can be shared or not by or both policy or not.
No, in fact, you see, in both our insured is common. On one way, he has taken a policy for his own cargo. That is marine policy. That is a perfect policy, but he has done very prudent thing to protect his merchandise. He has done it, and definitely he has to give letter of subrogation. He has to surrender his rights to insurance company, and insurance company will ask it from him himself. So that loss which carrier legal liability has to pay for a thing which does not belong to him, so that loss was not payable in first policy. So that the loss which has occurred to the merchandise belonging to him is payable only in marine policy, and therefore uh, he will get his money from marine policy. Next question, sir.
Okay, sir. There is a question from Mr. Darwar Ragottam.
Okay.
In the event of damage to cargo,
Yeah.
excuse me, that is this. In the event of damage to cargo, loss is assessed by the surveyor for the
Yeah.
marine policy. Is this
Yeah.
survey report acceptable by the insurer or of carrier legal liability policy, or should another
Uh,
surveyor to be appointed? Is there any practice or precedent?
uh,
Precedent?
uh, No, in fact, there is no such thing. Even same report can be accepted, but most of the times that doesn't happen, and that is a good practice, because we are generating two survey jobs from single event. So that is better for us.
Okay. There is
Yeah.
a another good question from Mr. Rupin Tucker.
Okay.
Is it compulsory to have vehicle damage due to fire or accident? Maybe
Yes,
in
of
some
course.
case the
Yeah.
vehicle gets slipped or unbalanced and glass consignment in get damaged. Does it cover in that case? This is a very good question, I think.
Yeah. In fact, I tell you one thing. The losses due to jerks and jolts are not covered in this policy, until and unless it is established that all those jerks and jolts have been caused by the negligence of the driver, like running over the potholes in high speed and whatsoever. But again, who will certify all these things? For that matter, they have to have a police report. Until and unless uh, the police report is nowhere, we cannot constitute that this loss has occurred because of negligence of the insured or his employees. So we cannot have we cannot initiate our assessment, or we cannot constrict or admit the liability of insurance company only on the assumption of this. So for that matter, the loss what he has requested us to know about is that has to be covered in all risk policy ITC classes or inland road risk policy of marine family. So there everything is covered. Even a glass is chipped off while it transit. That is also covered. I hope I replied it well. Next question, sir.
Yes, sir. We can take a last question from again Darwar Raghutam. When carrier has issued a damage or shortage certificate
Okay.
by sitting without commitment of liability,
Okay.
can he still be held legally liable but surveyor attributes to carrier's negligence?
You see, what certificate of discharge carrier has given? Can you read the question once more?
When carrier has issued damage or shortage certificate,
Okay.
citing that without commitment of liability,
Okay.
can he
Okay.
still be held legal liable but surveyor attributes to carrier's negligence?
In fact, for that matter, we have to refer to Carriers Act 1865, wherein a carrier he cannot abscond from his liability on by writing anything or something like that. What he has written in his question. What we have got to do is we have to refer that because Carriers Act clearly says that it is the duty of the carriers to deliver the goods or to carry the passengers and drop them at their destination in safe and sound condition. He has to take good care of the goods or person if it is a bus. So that is written in the Carriers Act, and he cannot be given a clean sheet by writing any damn thing. If he is saying this is damaged, but how it has been damaged, it means, yes, one thing is there in marine policy, anything which is being dropped by the while loading or unloading, that is not payable. But here, our coverage starts from the time of journey until the 7 days uh, of its reaching at the port of discharge or point of discharge. So that way he cannot escape his liability. He is legally liable and he has to pay the loss. Yes, sir. Next.
Okay, I think we have taken almost all the questions.
Done.
Some questions are duplicate, so we didn't take it.
Okay.
I think Sachin sir is not with us right now
Okay.
because you know the Mumbai rain is there and
Yeah.
there is a lot of disturbances there.
Right.
So
You can
on behalf
conclude
of
it.
all members,
Yeah.
on behalf of all members, I would like to thank you very much, KB sir.
Yeah.
And
You are welcome.
we will have your webinar soon.
Yeah. Sure.
And thank you everyone for attending this webinar. Hope you are enjoying our efforts.
And
Please join in our next session.
Samirji, I want to request the attendees here that it is my humble request to drop feedback to the isla.net regarding the quality, because we want to improve. We want to give a more better kind of knowledge to be imparted in these sessions. So I request and thank you so very much, everybody. And I request you
Thank
all
you.
to
Thank you very
take,
much.
yeah, okay.
Good. Take care of your yourself and see you soon. Tomorrow evening we have a webinar. Mr. Milind Harsukar sir with us. You have seen a link in question box. You will receive a SMS and WhatsApp soon. Thank you. Bye. Take care.
Bye. Yeah, you too.